So I attended a Sony photography workshop a few days ago and we were able to practice our portrait photography on models. I've been planning to get a new lens for a while and I needed a lens that works well in low light, that is good for video and also can take good photos. And I decided on getting a Sigma 16mm 1.4 for my Sony a6400. So since it's an APS-C sensor, I think that 16mm comes to a 24mm full frame equivalent. Most people would say I'm crazy for shooting portraits with a 16mm lens because no one does that. Most people would use a 50 or 85mm lens. But that's the lens that I have, and I just tell myself that I think, the gear you have does not matter at all, and you having something different or unique can actually set you apart from other photographers, artists, or anyone out there and add creative style to your work. I think if you're shooting portraits on a 50mm lens, although you'll still be able to express your creativity and showcase the way you see the world, if you do shoot with a lens that everybody else uses, doesn't that mean it's more likely that your photos are going to look similar to theirs? So maybe by having different types of gear and using more obscure and unique lenses and cameras, you'll be able to create something which is not seen that often. And this can add creative style to your photography. I'm not saying that gear is creativity, but I'm saying that if you can find gear which maybe gives you a look that you are going for with your style, those two can just work together and you'll get some really awesome photos. One of the main downsides people may find with shooting with such a wide lens is that you have to get really close to your subjects you're shooting for portraits. And I guess that's pretty true. But for me, it wasn't such a big downside because I was shooting with models who are pretty comfortable with being in front of a camera. And I think if you as the photographer is just a chill and relaxed dude, then people will be more comfortable with you getting close to them. As long as you're not some, 50-year-old dude weirdo, it should be lit. Just kidding, by the way. One of the major upsides that I found with shooting with this lens is that you can get some really cool perspectives and angles with your shots. And I think that it's basically what suits me the most because I like to shoot things creatively. I don't really want to portray the world exactly how it is. I want to add my own style to my photos. So I actually really love this lens. I think we sometimes forget that photography is also an art form, just like painting or design. And so the things you make do not have to be an exact replication of reality. You can bend reality slightly, or you can do whatever you want. It's your freedom. I feel photographers are a bit uptight sometimes and quite elitist. And sometimes people just don't want to stray away from the norm. But I think you should just do whatever you enjoy doing. Yeah. Honestly, in the end though, I just want to emphasize that gear does not matter at all. I think it's not that gear does not matter, but rather that gear or technology or any material thing can enhance what is already there. It can give you an edge if you're already in the top 0.01%, or it can just enhance the photography that you've already done. I think the advantage that gear gives you is so minuscule compared to you as an artist that you shouldn't build a wall and let yourself say that because you don't have gear you're gonna set yourself back and not create the things you want to make. Just do it. Just make things, and as you carry on you'll get more money and then you can buy more things, but start. An example I like to think about is, let's say you had to play one-on-one basketball with LeBron James, who is one of the best basketball players right now. You get the best, most expensive, well-made custom shoes in the world, whilst LeBron has to play barefoot and maybe even on one leg. Even if you had the best gear in the world, LeBron James would still destroy you 100-0 because he has refined every particular skill in basketball and has practiced it 1,000 hours. So when he plays with you, the gear does not matter because it's just a slight edge. And the important things are actually refining your craft. And as a photographer, that can be focusing on your composition, understanding how light works, those things, color. And regardless of what camera you have, those rules still stick. I don't really like to say crap camera or bad camera. Every camera and lens has a use. It's just tailored towards what you need it for. Yeah. And let's say I want to shoot portrait photos, but I only have $200. Well, I'm gonna think about, maybe I'd want to get a vintage lens, or just maybe I'd want to get a film camera, because film has a certain look to it, but it can also be a bit cheap. So maybe I want to use the constraints that I have already to create new things, or to really use constraints to your advantage. Always be creative and imaginative and find new ways to create things. No piece of gear is going to improve yourself as a photographer. It's only going to enhance what is already there.